So the first of our influences that we studied that will shape chambers of the future had to do with the nature of belonging and gathering. I guess some of you would think of that as membership and events, but we think it goes beyond that. We think over the next 10 years there will be a revolution in who and how people are engaged as members and participants. What will happen? We're not exactly sure. Will people continue to invest in heterogeneous organizations focused on the economy? Will they continue to pay dues? We can't say that for sure, but we do know that more people rather than less are likely to be engaged in civic activity. More rather than less will probably want to be associated with each other based on all the research we could find. And that this millennial phobia that seems to be sweeping the country in chamber life, about this great worry about whether the millennials will ever be involved in chamber activity, all the research we found shows that there's a great opportunity to engage people of every generation and to prepare your organization for every generation that comes along by focusing on ways to work with them that make them feel comfortable and where you can get the most out of them. One of the biggest difficulties that exists right now is this assumption that value of a chamber is equal to its events and the number of butts in the seat. And it really becomes obvious to us as we study chambers that are successful that that's not the case. That there certainly can be great value in events. Leaving out a big signature event or two at every chamber, the reality is that 80% of your members probably don't participate in anything the chamber is doing. They don't take part in any of the programming. And yet your renewal rates are all over 80%. And so there's obviously huge value that's received or understood or assumed from chambers, even without attendance and participation. We think over the next 10 years, chambers will have to recognize that the value comes from many things and not just how many events they run. We also have to realize, and this is very important, that a network and an event are not the same thing. Certainly networks can be established at events, but they're not the same word. Network, event, not the same word. We have to be able to engage and start and nurture networks that may or may not be connected to actual events. You see, the thing is that this next generation, this millennial generation, sometimes they want to be involved, but they may not want to join. They want to be associated, but they may not want to have to show up on a Tuesday night. They want to take on issues and they want to get engaged. And by the way, and the next generation is likely to want the same things. By the way, probably the generation that went before did too, but we had developed a habit, a culture built around participation, direct participation, purchasing seats and attendance that may or may not be the future of chambers. We know that some influence will have to shift to deal with this new millennial power and the new people that will be coming into leadership in all of your organizations. We also have to recognize that the motivations that people have for getting engaged in a chamber can be very different. Sometimes we look at this and we say there are really two big buckets. Those who want to get something done through the chamber and those who want to get something from the chamber. Mission, transaction, community, business. Those definite, larger, descriptive motivations are critical for chambers to understand in the future. It will not be enough to treat a member as a member is a member. And as long as you do that, you will miss opportunities, not just for engagement, but for attraction and retention.